Are you ready to finally have your employees using AI? In this video, I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process that I went through when I was training all of our virtual assistants at 2XU on how to use ChatGPT and AI when it came to working with their clients, and as well as the training basically or walkthrough that I give our clients at Create AI, where I am an AI consultant for different businesses on how they can have their employees use AI. And of course, if you're interested in either services, the links will be below. Now, I will divide this out into 3 different kind of phases when it comes to integrating AI into your business. Now, the first phase is mapping it out. One of the mistakes that I see so many people make when it comes to integrating or adding AI into their business is they use it to make some things faster or to add things in their business without even knowing in the first place what their business actually does, especially if you just kind of come out of the startup phase where things are starting to kind of settle in, where you know how the processes are. They don't actually have it written down. So when I'm consulting with people, that's one of the first things that I do is I help map out where their business is at. We use this with a tool called Miro, basically, where from the beginning of a customer experience all the way through kind of whatever their business does is we map out what those processes would look like. This way, later on, it's going to be easier for us to actually add AI into it, because we're not just adding AI into random different places, we're actually adding AI intentionally into the business. Next is then we start to identify what are repetitive tasks that need to get done in the business. What are the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, every 6 months or yearly tasks or outcomes basically that need to get done to keep the business running. And then afterwards, we then start identifying what are those outcomes. So as a really good example, inside of 2XU, every 15th, we invoice our clients. So they have 2 weeks to pay us before the 1st. And that is basically the outcome, is of course for us to get paid. This way we have the starting point and then the end point for these businesses on what it is that they do from the day-to-day processes. And finally, a key part is setting up guidelines for your employees when it comes to using AI. What I mean by this is going ahead and setting up what would be the policies when it comes to making sure that one, when they're using AI, they're using AI responsibly, and 2, how to make sure that their job changes with AI, not by AI. So what I mean by that is that their job basically is not replaced completely by AI. It is that they are being powered by AI. So for example, within 2XU, one of the first things that we teach is when you're using AI, never use it as a first draft. Always edit it, especially the first line when it's usually a little bit more generic. If you put 7 different Facebook ads right now at the moment, you'll put them side by side, they will probably have some indication that they were AI generated. So it's always best to edit those ahead. The second thing that we put as a policy within 2XU for our virtual assistants is that we make sure that if it is AI generated, they tell their clients that it is AI generated. That way there's a little bit of transparency back and forth of like, hey, I made this using AI. What do you think? Do you want us to continue using this or not? Which basically brings me to the third point of making sure that when things are getting tested, that it is documented first, so we know what it used to look like before we added AI. So if it doesn't work, we can easily revert to it, which brings me to the second phase, where once we've mapped out what their business looks like, the repetitious tasks, the outcomes that they do, is then we start actually documenting them. So this is by creating standard operating procedures. This is by creating assets and different things that they might have already documented but does not match everything else. So for example, we have businesses where they created their vision and mission years and years ago. They never really updated it, even though the business has changed. So that's one of the first things that we look at. It's like, hey, based on 5 years ago you said this is your vision mission, this is not the way anymore, so we should go ahead and update this. That way, once we actually start adding AI into your business, it's actually uniform. It doesn't get scattered information from different sources. The main aim for this section is to have a uniform information they can use to train AI. You don't have, again, information that was made 5 years ago that's not anymore relevant to the business now. It's making sure that you have a uniform way to train the AI about yourself and your business. And honestly, this is one of the first places that we start, is we can create a custom AI standard operating procedure writer, where the goal for it is basically making sure that when they're making standard operating procedures for the business, business is that it reflects everything else. It's connected to one to the other. It doesn't have to be where, one format for this one SOP and then a different format for this SOP. We make sure that it's uniform so it's easier for people to follow. And again, the goal of this is to document first what the process looked like before we added AI into it, so we can always go back if the AI process actually doesn't work. Now, the third phase is basically two phases combined, but it's basically the same thing, which is automate and integrate. What this means is then, as you've already mapped out what your business looks like, you've already mapped out your processes, maybe you've started creating your SOPs, is then you can start looking and identifying which ones would be more just AI assistants, meaning that they could be custom GPTs, or which ones would be actual AI automations or AI agents. Now, I like to separate the two basically. For an AI assistant or a custom GPT, these are more the text-based generating AI. Really good examples of this are like proposals, email templates, basically things that are templated because you created the process out of it. You just need to tweak a few pieces of information to make it work. So for example, for this, in a conference that I just did, I basically created an email writer assistant for someone where it was for outreach for their business. And for them, the AI was already trained on who they are, what they do, what the goal of their service is. And all they had to do was take a screenshot of the person's LinkedIn, put it into ChatGPT or their custom GPT assistant, and it'll generate a custom email for that person based on what they have on their LinkedIn and of course based on the actual business itself. So combining both, that is essentially what a custom GPT is. It's always just generating, versus for an AI agent or for an AI automation, it is when you start connecting different apps, basically different types of software or tools that you use into creating a really smooth system for yourself. Really good example for this is we automated someone's onboarding process where they would grab information from a CRM that they would have that would go into a Google Sheet, that from the Google Sheet it will then customize the email with ChatGPT and then would go into Gmail, and then Gmail will send it to the appropriate person based on their information on the CRM. So it was integrating multiple different apps and tools into working together, basically because it was such a recurring task that they needed to get done anyway, that it just needed one click and it would just keep running and doing the same correct automation and process and flow. And of course, that wouldn't have happened if they didn't map out their business in the first place. Now, the last bit of this is, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to testing AI in your business, is you need to adjust, you need to document what are the things you guys already tried, and making sure that you also document the results of that. I'm like, hey, did it actually save us time? Did this actually make the business a little bit better? Versus just letting AI take over and not even have the right intentions of actually using AI for your business. AI just isn't a hot word anymore. It's not a trend. It's not anything. AI is here. So for you as a business owner, it's integral. It's important that you start integrating AI as best as you can and training your employees on how to use it, whether they're learning how to create custom GPTs or creating automations. And of course, if you want a shortcut of that, you can just go ahead and click on any of the links that we have below if ever you need an AI-powered executive assistant, or for us to be able to apply essentially the process that I just mapped out with you with our Create AI services. Feel free to reach out. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below what questions do you have when it comes to integrating AI into your business. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And remember that small steps matters, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!